Well, hello. Mm. How wonderful to see you and your names, to be here. It's very familiar. I experienced, I should record there. I think I'm remembering all the bits, I think. Record here.
Recording in progress.
There it is. I had an experience yesterday that I imagine many of you have had. It's an incredible privilege. I woke up in a little hotel in San Jose, Costa Rica. It's an interesting place. There's 5 rooms. We arrived there at 2 o'clock in the morning on the first day, Jennifer and I, on our journey, and couldn't see anything. There was a deck. And then, hang on, someone is not muted. I will find out who it is. It's Nick. Hi, Nick. There we go. So this is now 2 weeks ago. We woke up, and the sun was coming up. I'm always up very early, even if I go to bed really late, and it was jungle outside. It was amazing. And I've lived mostly outdoors, actually. Jennifer and I counted. We had one night when we were actually in a really enclosed place. But anyway, the experience I had yesterday, which was very odd, was I woke up in northern San Jose, which is a much more busy and congested place than I imagined. And then we got out. We left at 4, a quarter to 5. Yeah. And then we drove for 25 minutes or so through the, without Waze on your phone, there's no way to survive there. I'd never have found the airport again. But anyway, we drove for 25, 30 minutes in mostly empty streets. And then we entered the time machine, or the strange thing where you climb into those aluminum cigar tubes and then you appear in Los Angeles, which could be anywhere. And then you walk a long ways. I've been having trouble with my hip again. Oh, something's going on here I need to attend to. Low battery on my computer. I won't be gone long. The system is not going to last if I don't do something. So what is that? Oh, here it is. Okay. There, that'll be okay. So anyway, I don't want to belabor that, but then there was a 5-hour layover. And then we got on another silver tube. And then we were here. I spent a lot of time just being on the plane, as I did in the last 2 weeks. And I don't know. I find it very odd to be here. It's utterly normal. But I was there yesterday. Strange. There's a point I'm trying to make that I can't find. I have been really wondering this morning, what shall I say? What should we do? We should certainly meditate. But there's a problem. Which is, for 2 weeks, I have been shutting down thinking and the future and the past with a kind of vigor I've only known ever on long retreats. I've had several hammocks to hang out in. One with a view of an exquisite beach several miles long. Carrillo, Playa Carrillo. Nobody on it. But in a certain way, I come back. I come back with a much greater commitment to practice than I've ever known, and a great admiration of the natural world and of friendship. I met beautiful people. My neurotic patterns were with me. Everywhere you go, there you are. Jennifer and I took our beautiful parts of our relationship and our somewhat nutty parts along too. But I had all those hours. When I was thinking what to say today, I remembered something Jack Kornfield said and wrote in one of his early books, that he came back from, the first time he came back from Thailand to visit family, he asked a friend, another monk, "Do you have any advice?" And the advice was really simple. If you're going somewhere and taking the bus, and the bus starts to pull out as you get toward it, don't run. There will be another bus. I want to and intend to stop running. So with that in mind, let's do the marvelous thing that the Buddha taught a long time ago. And I want to start with a favorite poem here. Oh, here. Oh, no. Come on. Work. Oh, where'd it go? Here it is. All right. Many of you will recognize this. It's from Albert Einstein, who, along with everything else, was quite a mystic. A human being is part of a whole called by us universe, a part limited in time and in space. They experience themselves, their thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest. A kind of optical delusion of consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. A human being is part of a whole called by us the universe. They experience themselves, their thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest. A kind of optical delusion of consciousness. This delusion is a sort of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. So let us find a comfortable upright posture. Let's remember the refuges in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Not refuges as some kind of magical ritual that we do. Refuges as coming home. And I want to bring to the altar of our hearts Jim and Gregory and Kendall and Doug, Gary, colleagues, friends of the heart, colleagues of the heart, who've been here with you during the last couple of weeks. We are so fortunate. With friendships like these. We have refuge in Sangha. So refuge in the Buddha and being awake in this utter mystery of consciousness and knowing. Refuge in the Dharma, in the way things actually are. And in the Sangha. Our true Sangha is so vast. We are part of a magnificence of life, awakening to itself. And this body breathes in and out, participating in the great photosynthetic breathing, burning glucose dance. So let us be here and alive, awake to the coming and going of the breath. to the thoughts. Human beings are part of the living earth. We didn't land here in a spaceship somehow and take over. We grew out of the earth, every single one of us. Which means, of course, that we belong here. Just as the Douglas firs do, and the whales, the sloths, the tapirs, everybody. We belong here. Meditation usually begins for a human being with quite a lot of striving and struggle, trying to control this mind. There's some merit to that. But that old definition of mindfulness, non-judgmental awareness of what occurs inside us and around us in successive moments of consciousness. Non-judgmental. If it's painful, it's painful. If it's pleasant, it's pleasant. So we use some strategies like concentration, having a home base in the breath, maybe even noting rising, rising, falling, falling, wandering, wandering, returning, returning. Calling the 5 hindrances by their true names. Coming home to the present here and now. Each breath is complete into itself, unto itself. There's this moment of beginning, this rising to fullness, this decline, and then this vanishing. That's all. the mind wanders. It creates all kind of remarkable worlds, the past and the future. Worries, plans, stories of success and failure. And there's mindfulness. There is that which is awake, which knows. How can that possibly be? And it is like this right now. There may be pain in the body. There usually is. Maybe always is once we become attuned. Certainly as we go older. There may also be pleasure. There might be warmth. There might be coolness. But we have this exquisite opportunity to sit together and to watch the show of life. The breathing in and the breathing out. In sitting together, we mysteriously awaken to the emergence of the five hindrances. The wanting, the not wanting, the disliking, the restlessness and agitation and worry, and the sloth and torpor. The doubt, the natural doubt. And we plant seeds. We participate in the awakening process of mindfulness and curiosity. The seven enlightenment factors simply grow and grow and get more and more intense. We become increasingly more curious about life and the mind, the body. What is going on? Persistence. We get more and more committed to this quest. What is going on? Concentration grows and curiosity further develops into equanimity, into tranquility. Moment by moment. And there's a quiet delight that comes from inside. The world will do its thing. And there's a part of us that is unmoved. Unmoved. We all long to feel safe, to feel loved and loving, to feel connected and belonging. The practice of metta, of loving kindness, can be done in very complicated fashions. It can also be done in the most simple fashion, which is to be present right now with your own life experience. To accept fully, as fully as we can, increasingly completely or fully, the life of this moment. If we would put words on it, we could say, "Dear body, I love you." Who could believe something this complex could go on for so many years? Dear emotional self, the part that struggles and the part that's wise, maybe. I accept you as you are. I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. Whew, what a relief. And of course, we will discover in this moment and others that we're hurting simply by being a separate being. We do a lot of hurting. There's physical hurting, there's emotional hurting, there's the hurt of missing someone or something, the hurt of loss, the hurt of fear. I intend to love and accept myself and hold myself in sweet compassion whenever there's hurting. And we will encounter others who are acting badly, of course, driven by greed and hatred and ignorance. We humans do all kinds of things to each other. And to bring peace into the world, I aspire to hold all of us in sweet compassion. Still to hold someone accountable when need be, to stop someone when need be. But to act as best I can from a place of great compassion. Please now you may well have some plans for the rest of your day. It may turn out that you get to do some of them. Why not imagine doing one of them? I know I'll be driving my car at some point. I also have to unpack my bags. I intend to do that with great mindfulness. It could be done in a rush, but why? So imagining washing the dishes or meeting with a friend or having a cup of tea, and imagine spontaneously remembering, oh yeah, this moment is here now and will never be again. I intend to be awake to it. And please now noticing your body in contact with the chair. Not an image of it or a fantasy or an imagination of it. The actual, feel the pressure, the contact. Notice your clothing, where it touches the skin. It's all over the place. It's a lot of stimulation. We tune it out. We learn to tune it out, but it's no surprise that small children shed their clothes at every opportunity. Like, yuck, I have to have this on? And please notice the aliveness in what you think of as your hands, the arms and the shoulders, in the neck and the jaw, in the cheeks, in the eyes. And let your eyes roll around a little bit in their beautiful, smooth sockets. It takes some intention to do this, but it's possible. And now cultivating, creating, imagining, connecting with that natural loving, which is acceptance and compassion. And notice also the capacity that you have to plan, to intend, to let the eyes open, to open them. And then when it's time, notice how you decide or it's decided, then let the eyes open. And in this opening, seeing happens. If everything works, if the eye is intact and the brain is intact, seeing. And then there's the recognition, there's perception. And we can think kind thoughts about someone. I hope you're experiencing a fine mood today. And if there's pain or loss, I hope you're feeling it really deeply and fully. I have an update on my recently deceased dog, Budo, who's buried over there. I can see the spot on my way to my little house here. Budo was present in a whole bunch of dogs in Costa Rica. You never know when you're in when you're in somebody else's house or restaurant, should you feed the dog? I'm always sneaky when I do. But there was Budo. In this other dog's form, I got to fluff up his ears, and I don't mean something super cosmic and it's Budo. I mean every dog is Budo. Really. And that experience of missing him, the missing comes in one particular. I walk out the door and he's not here. It's not painful at all. His body is over there. I know where his body ended up. That's really a good thing for me. But I'm not suffering at all. And I share that because I know sometimes grief lingers a long time. I think there's something very much important about being sure that we have, as best we can, to have many, many sources of love in our lives. So there was one other thing I wanted to say. What was it? Thank you all for being here. We're lucky. So lucky. There is a Dharma talk, something of a Dharma talk. I want to show you just a handful of pictures and speak of two people that I met. One named Bridget and the other one Jose. And they spoke to me of love and the connection with the natural world. So Jim, I am utterly out of the loop and I love it, not having any announcements. Is there some announcing you should do since you're here in the loop?
Well, tonight is the third Sunday of the month, and that means that Candle is giving her presentation of the Dharma at 6:30, I think, 6 or 6:30. You can find it on PortlandInsights.org.
6:30. Yeah.
6:30. Okay. But everything else is sort of in process, winding down for the end of the month. I'm finished with my qigong. I did that yesterday, and that was a delicious day. I enjoyed that thoroughly and took a nice long walk afterwards and just allowed it to roll around inside. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the month. So there's a program Monday night with me and Thursday night with Doug Pullen, and I'm not sure when Candles is, but she has a Friday a couple times a month. I'm not sure which dates. But that's about it.
Thank you, Jamie. I just got reminded the Queer Affinity Group is tonight at 7,
I think
Jamie?
so. Yeah, I forgot that. That's at 7 on Sundays.
6:30.
6:30. Oh,
6:30.
there you have it. All right.
Somebody's online. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I heard that's been very well attended, so that's great. So, Mr. Dalton, are you still capable of mindful movement?
We'll see. I think so.
All right.
It's my intention is to stand
All
up,
right.
and stretch.
Good. I'll be back when you're done.
All right. Turn on a different light. All right. So, if you want to join me for some mindful movement, we'll just kind of sink a little bit into the knees and feel the toes moving around against the surface of the floor. Rock upward and see how your toes can support you right now, and then rock backward and see how there's no toes in the back. It's just a round heel. You have to be much more intentional. I'm rolling back carefully. I'm rising up in the front with all of the tendons and muscles all working together. And then when I rock back, it's just the heel. So it's a little precarious. So we can feel these, the sense of agency in certain combinations of toes and ligaments and muscles and nerves. We can intend to rock back and forth. And as soon as we create that intention, there's a shifting, sort of watery development, left and right. We have a left side of the body and a right side of the body, and they're very different when we start rocking them back and forth. One gets engaged, the other relaxes. And relaxation feels like this in the off leg, and then the leg that's engaged has a whole different set of sensations and a feeling of uprightness and power. Shift back and exchange rolls, left and right. Now the other side is strong and steady. You can feel the earth steadiness in the bones and the muscles. And the other one's kind of watery. It just kind of, hangs loose. So we find the elements in this body changing, shifting. So what I'd like to do today is just one or two gestures that I learned soon after I started teaching. Sink into the knees and interlock the fingers, and just feel each finger locked into an embrace with the rest of the fingers and the knuckles and the thumbs one over the other, and squeeze it and let it loose, and squeeze it and let it loose, and feel how many responses there are in the hands and the fingers by just squeezing and letting go. But then let go, rise up, and then turn the hands so the palms are facing out, and then turn the wrists so the palms are facing down. So how many muscles and nerves and tendons have to organize to shift forward, shift into the down position, shift forward, feel it all the way back to the elbows, probably more to feel, but at least extend from the center of the palms out to the elbows. And then turn a little bit more and press upward and straighten the elbows, not completely, but just extend. And breathe. And feel how the rib cage is working to make room for more air. And then releases down a little bit and expands again. And then if we tip over to one side, the ribs on that side really separate, open. And the palms are pushing outward to the opposite corner, so to speak. So the upward is one feeling of equal balance, and then over to the side, the right or the left, whichever when you're stretching, is extending, opening. Back to the center, that feeling of balance. Just dip into your knees and push up, and both arms are working the same way. Then release them and let them float out to the side until you're just pointing out left and right with your fingers. They're just gently extended out. And now feel the rib cage as you breathe in. Breathe out. The same muscles are working, but the whole alignment is shifted. It's a whole new interchange between the inside and the outside of the body. The inside expands like a balloon and then releases. And then the arms keep going down. They take a journey to full surrender to gravity. Just let them hang from the shoulder sockets. And then feel the space between the right palm and the left palm. They were all tied together just a moment ago, and now they miss each other. So bring them together, interlock the fingers, feel the collaboration, the cooperation, the interweaving. Then the intention to lift, palms up, and then pause and feel the rib cage in this position. Palms up, and then turning all the way around till the palms are up overhead. And then moving out to the side, feel one side of the rib cage expand, come back to the center and just push up gently, balanced, both arms working together, and then relax the arms and just let the hips move to one side and the rib cage opens up on that side. Come back to the center, find that balance, release, and float out till your fingers are pointing outwards. Palms down, then turn the palms up. How many tendons and muscles and nerves have to cooperate? Palms up, palms down. It starts at the shoulder and goes all the way down to the fingertips. Palms up, palms down. Release down. There's still effort required to stay away from the body, and then pretty soon we just get lined up with gravity and release everything from the shoulder through the elbow, through the wrist, into all the digits of the hand. So we can take one arm and extend it out, lift the heel, and release. So we're mindful of intending to lift, releasing, coming back. So we have this feeling of movement, of sweeping, and then coming down. The words are hard to get hard to get out. Can't find the words, but to feel the heel coming up on one side and the arm extending, releasing down. There's a sense of agency, lifting, and then a releasing and accepting of gravity more and more and more. Lifting. Holding for a second. All the weight on one leg. Feel the agency and the steadiness and the firmness of all the joints from the ankles to the knees to the hips. And then release that and just pause in the middle, letting the arms hang again, surrendering to gravity. Out of the joints in the ankles, the knees, and the hips feel now. And that other gesture from Shibashi, lift both hands and look out over your shoulder like you're looking through a porthole, and then drop your arms and lift up on the other side and feel the hips. What are the sensations in the hips looking out over the corner, up, the back corner? And then come to the center, surrender, let the arms just hang from the shoulders. What do the hips feel like now? Then the intention is to turn and lift, and the hips have to do all sorts of adjustments. They're alive with intention and agency. Release. Surrendering, 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 and relaxing. Just a few movements, and there's no way you can not use everything in your body to do it. It just, everybody has to cooperate. There's lots of collaboration. We have the intention to sink, and the strength of the thighs and the strength of the calf muscles and the joints release in the knees, and then out to the side. The shoulder socket keeps shifting and changing and shifting and changing and shifting. And then we pause and just feel the stretch before we release down. Just a limp wrist, limp fingers, just floating down like leaves out of a tree in the fall. And then surrendering the arms out of the shoulders, letting gravity gently pull those tendons and muscles towards the earth. We're just relaxed and breathing. And then once more, out to the side, nice and slow, feeling all the adjustments, all the shifting. Palms up, palms facing each other, stretching, palms floating down gently towards the earth. And then that familiar sensation of surrendering to gravity through the shoulder, through the upper arm, the elbow, the lower arm, and the hands. And then bringing the hands together in gratitude for another chance to explore the collaboration and wonderful synchronicity of all the movement in the body. We'll change our position and have a seat and move into the next moment with the Dharma talk.
I just got a note from Kat asking to announce BQN. And we did. I'm not sure what the BQN letters stand for.
Robert, how could you not be in the know? Be queer now.
Oh, all right. That's much better than queer affinity group. I mean, it's got much more life to it.
That was the intent.
What about those of us that feel left out? He said with a whine. No response.
We could talk about that later.
Okay. Well, friends, my dear friends, a Dharma talk is still not formed, but I have a couple of things I want to share with you. So let me see if I can do it. I apologize for those of you on Facebook and YouTube. I can't go through the hoops to make this visible to you right now. So, I carried my guitar with me on my travels. I usually do. I'm really still quite a beginner after these few years. And I was on the beach 3 days ago. Carrillo, Playa Carrillo. And a man, I think he was driving some kind of a four-wheel drive vehicle, like an off-road vehicle. But he had a really bad limp. And he limped past me as I was playing a thing in Tambourine Man, I think. He waved and he went down to the beach. And then on his way back, he came and was standing nearby. And I don't speak any Spanish, but I did have my iPhone with me. And there's some very fine translation software now. You can actually speak complete sentences to it. It takes about a tenth of a second, and then it'll say it. You push the button, and it says it in Spanish or in Swahili or any number of other languages. It's an amazing thing. So we had a little conversation, not much, and I held out my guitar to him, and he took it. And then he sat down and played for me. I have no idea what he's saying. Susanna, you'll know. But he was so beautiful. And this is him. It's very short, just 23 or 24 second segments. But this made the whole journey worthwhile. Jim, I'm going to ask you to tell me if I have sound, okay?
All right. Good.
One of the nights, my pictures are very screwed up. They haven't all transferred over, or I'd share another video with you. One of the nights in a beautiful place called Orosi, the Orosi Valley. I was hungry and went out for dinner late. I went to a restaurant nearby, and there was a fellow. It was a pizza place, of all things. And there was a fellow, quite an accomplished guitarist, singing very familiar songs. And I hung out for a little while. I couldn't get served. It was odd. But I hung out for a while, and then I tipped him well and then left. And I went elsewhere. And I found a very traditional, what did they call them? They called them, it's funny. A soda, I think. I forget right now. Anyway, there was a fellow setting up with his guitar and about 6 people eating and 5 staff. And I wish I had the video right now, but I'll get it soon. And he started playing. And he started having a conversation with particularly one of the women in the audience. And she was madly in love with the fellow. They were. It was so clear they were falling in love, and either that or they were out for their. Whatever the case, they were really in love with each other, glowing. And she started singing with the guitarist. And then everybody else started singing. I was in the living room. I was transported. It was so beautiful. And then I can't describe it, of course. Words are so paltry. And this was an experience that I had several other times. Going back to that poem by the thing from Einstein about remembering that we belong. There are there are hundreds of thousands of little villages and cities around the earth. And got to change something here. And right now, human beings are living their lives all over the place. And they are us. They are just like us. And we do live in such prisons of our own psychological, emotional greed, hatred, and ignorance. I guess part of what I'm trying to say is that for me right now, there's an even greater urgency than before to get free. To actually be able to connect with the love that's around me. And I guess the other thing that I wanted to share that I'm aware of. Oh, I keep having pictures of this beautiful man. How do I get out of this? There we go. There's pictures of two other people I want to share with you. Here we go. There's this. This is Bridget. She is Swiss by origin. She's lived, however, in, on the eastern coast in Costa Rica for 25 years. When she arrived in the village, everyone traveled by horseback. And the fellow's name, I'm sorry, I've lost. But what she's doing here, we have crushed. We were learning how to make cocoa from the fruit of the cocoa plant, and it's been roasted and crushed. Jennifer did the crushing with a rock, and now she's pouring the cocoa beans down into another bowl. These bowls grow naturally in the trees, and this fellow is fanning it, so she's winnowing it. And after this, there were just plain cocoa seeds. But this is why I want to show it to you. Back to here. I have other pictures of this fellow. One of her other employees is a man who is very much of a native tribe. He speaks a different language at home. And again, the theme was how we are part of the earth. How there are natural medicines, and how our task is to live lightly and to take care of the earth. And I guess maybe that's it. I want to show you one other picture. This fellow he was a big surprise to me. Here. This is Jose. This is my brother, Jose. We were staying in a little hotel in Orosi, and he offers coffee tours. And it was just him and Jennifer and me. And it turns out he's a big shot in the coffee world, in that part of it. And it's an incredible coffee country. And And he has his family's been growing coffee for 3 or 4 generations. And he explained to us the complexity of coffee. And I will never drink a cup of coffee the same way again, recognizing the process that's involved in bringing it to us and the people. But and maybe this would make more sense, I guess, if I were to show you the slides, which are not uploaded yet. But there are right now over 1.5 million little coffee plants that he's taking care of. And they create all the coffee plants for all of Costa Rica. And the coffee harvest involves bringing in workers from Nicaragua and also borrowing millions of dollars from an international banking system, which when you look at some coffee, it's got this certification that it's grown ecologically and with social concern. And this big bank won't lend the money unless you're following those guidelines. But anyway, we came and we had a lovely connection and had fun, and he speaks English very well. But then he started talking about his relationship with his family, whom we met. And they all lived together, generations. I met his 85-year-old uncle. And people in that particular town or region, I guess, tend to live to over. There's more centenarians there than it's called the Blue Zone. Around the world, there's a few of them. And one of the things they do is they spend time together. They hang out. Funny, I guess I'm going to fail in my attempt here. Yeah. He has extraordinary love for the land and for the people around him. And he has spiritual, as we were just parting, and as we got more and more open with each other, he started sharing with me his spiritual practices, and I just got the sense that he is, of course, one of millions or tens of millions around the world. There's so many of us that are devoted to learning how to become more loving, how to live kindly with each other and with the earth. And funny, I'm not finding the words, but that's how it is. But I want to share this last, let me see here, how do I do this? I go out of here for a moment. All right. I took a lot of pictures while I was gone. And here are a few of them that are very touching. I will let them speak for themselves. This is a yellow pit viper. Quite dangerous. This is a mother sloth. She has her baby with her, but the baby's kind of out of sight. This is Jennifer crushing cocoa beans. We saw this. And this fellow's name, this is the fellow from the native tribe. I've forgotten his name already, darn it. He's grinding into here with the roasted cocoa beans, and what's coming out here is pure 100% cocoa. And this was our last night. with Christine and Sebastian in San Jose, who are Susanna's niece, I guess. What a lovely introduction that was. Um, so, so that's that. And I guess I want to speak of one other thing. I don't know how I'm going to pick up my role managing PIMC, but it's going to be different. It must be different. This last year with this project has been really overwhelming. And before I left, I was able to delegate a lot of things, and I'm not going to pick them up again. Because I really want to devote my life to teaching and to sitting and to being. So I will not let anything crash, but I'm feeling I'm in a very odd, and it's not. I don't think I'm particularly jet lagged actually, but life is so utterly precious. I don't want to be so busy all the time. So there. Have you anything you'd like to share or to ask? Because this mind is heading for silence.
Good Sunday, Sangha. Robert, welcome home.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello. So, on your theme of delighting and connecting with the love that is around us, are you able to make it such that I can share my screen, please?
Yeah.
I shared this last week.
Hang on. There we go.
I shared this last week about my story of meeting Had for the first time. And some of you might not have heard that, but he generously invited me to come and visit him at the bakery where he works. And I just wanted to share a photo of that lovely meeting.
Oh.
Now, this seems a bit close, perhaps, but there is a lovely story behind this very loving and close posture of Had and I. And it was just a delight. And so, yes, there is just love all around us. And I'm so thankful for the Sangha. So thank you.
Well, that was nice.
Well, I got an interesting development while you were gone. I got a copy of the sonogram of my granddaughter's new baby.
Wow.
So I'm going to become a great grandpa in August.
Wow.
And I looked at the sonogram, and on one side of this creature, there were clearly 5 digits. And on the other side, there was just something happening. So I couldn't see any digits, but I decided it was waving at us. So that was my gem for the week. It made me hum all week long.
Well, you were a great grandfather already, from what I saw.
Some people say so, but I've got a lot of work to do now for another generation.
Jim, this is Had. I want to thank you abundantly for that extraordinary Qigong workshop yesterday, and it really, truly was wind beneath my wings and lightened the day of going into the bakery and seeing Jamie there. It was just extraordinary. So I want to encourage anyone who has not ever done some Qigong time with Jim, when next time he offers one, just jump in. It's extraordinary, as you know from this morning, this brief time we did today. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Had. It was a good day, a very good day.
And lovely opening of doorways in my mind with a beautiful poetry by Stanley Kunitz and your sharing of learning his story. Did you learn that on YouTube, or do you know where you saw that video you mentioned of him?
It was Friday was a very full day. I was reading books. I was on YouTube. I was looking at poetry collections, and it was a very enriching day. So yeah, it's a complicated story. How I, sometimes you can go into the web and just get lost, but I just kept finding more and better, more and better, more and better. It was really great. Bill Moyers was part of it. He introduced me to Stanley Kunitz. It was amazing.
Just occurred to me there's something else I could share with you. We had 4 days in a little town, really a little town called Cahuita. There's a beach there. It is a beach town. And the surf was not particularly high. There were maybe 3-foot waves, maybe 4-foot waves. And as I have done in my life, I'm a pretty good swimmer. I worked my way through the breakers, and I got out to just beyond where they were breaking. And I love to do that and just roll on my back and then float. And I've been out there for a little while, and a fellow approached me from the south on a surfboard saying, "You're in great danger. When you go back, don't go straight in. Come down this way first." And and then I looked toward the beach, and there was everyone on the beach. And I thought I could hear them, and they were screaming. They were jumping up and down and waving their arms, and unbeknownst to me, they had been doing so for some time. And there are quite significant riptides there, which I had not known. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. So I decided I would head into shore. And it was hard. It was hard. And there were a few moments when I thought, I might not make this. That was interesting, watching the fear. And then I decided that I stopped. I did, you may not know what drown proofing is. You let yourself go limp, and you go down, and then you take a breath and go down and rest, and then come up again. And I did that for a little while. And then I started out swimming very consciously. I went south for a little while, and then I cut inland, and it was hard. It was hard swimming. And I'm not that fit. But I did, in fact, make it, obviously. But I had the sense that it was a bit of a close call. And there was quite an uproar at the beach when I came in. But I was grateful that I was strong enough to make it back to shore. And that's been my habit. I've always done. I've done that for decades. Go out beyond the breakers and hang out for a while. But I think I may be more cautious, especially on a beach I don't know. So you never know. You never know. Just this moment, I'm delighting in seeing you. I'm glad I got to be back here. I get to be back here.
Robert.
I hear a voice.
Here. Susanna.
Susanna, hello. There you
Hi.
are. Hang on, you're out of sight for me behind my camera. No, you're not. Hi.
Wow, that last story of yours really scared me. First of all, I was very touched by everything you told us and shared with us, and the videos of the man playing his guitar. And I can tell you later about what he was singing about and things like that. But the last story was very scary because, yeah, that happens a lot there. I've heard of stories of people being picked up out of the ocean by a fishing boat that just passed by, and they didn't realize it, and they were just carried out. So I'm really happy and grateful that surfer, they all came out and helped you. So I'm really happy to know that you're safe and sound. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Me too. I was a long ways out, turned out.
No, you don't know it. And like I said, I remember a story about a woman who was fished out of the ocean way out at sea. She had just been carried out like that. Anyways, happy that you're here with us. You didn't tell me that part of your story.
I think probably the most dangerous part of the trip was the driving. It's
Definitely. Driving is scary there.
it's a little wild. I mean, I don't think people are particularly aggressive, but the roads are challenging, and yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, driving in San Jose with the what would you call it? The spaghetti of roads, and people go. You stop at a stop sign and someone goes shooting by on us. It's like, whoa. Yeah, quite something.
Yeah.
So how
Hi,
is...
Robert. It's Karen.
Hello, Karen.
Hi, Robert. I was just thinking how upset I would have been if you hadn't made it back. Okay, so anyway, I'm so happy that you're back. But the question I wanted to ask is, you mentioned at the beginning that that you came back from Costa Rica feeling more devoted than ever to practice. And what happened, or what is it about that experience in Costa Rica that made you feel that way?
I might look like I'm thinking, but what's happening is that this mind is just going silent, and way back in India 51 years ago, a few days into the retreat, the mind went quiet for the first time in my life. It's not quite true, because the mind had gone quiet at high speed on skis or hanging on a rope or doing intense things, dancing hard maybe. But for a whole evening, there was no thinking. And it came right back the next day, but something had become visible. It's like, I don't know, the first time getting stoned or the first time doing acid. It's like, whoa, there is another way of being. And to live with identification with the worrying mind or the agitated mind or the mind of I have to do this or I have to remember this, or to live with identification with that is really painful. And I don't know. I'm really not feeling very articulate at all, Karen. But it's this human mind is really quite insane. It takes things seriously that it makes no sense to take seriously. Part of my learning with Jennifer, we've been a team waking up together now for more than 10 years, and I still get caught in her anxiety. We were driving, we were late, and she was getting anxious, and there was a sense of judging her for being anxious, and I just kept my mouth shut though and watched the show, but. I don't want to be crazy. I don't want to be driven. I don't want to be chasing after fantasy satisfactions when the only real satisfaction is being whole in oneself. And one of the things that happened in Costa Rica was I had so much time. Most mornings I'd be up 4 o'clock or 4:30, and I'd have hours to lie in the hammock, and I wasn't exhausted. I hadn't stayed up late working or doing some crazy thing on the internet, and so there was just this huge, repetitive, great ease. And I don't have to live. I don't have to create frantic in my consciousness all the time. One of the ways that I create frantic is trying to get some satisfaction. Staying up too late at night, trying to feel good through consuming something. It's insane. As opposed to, well, now it's time to rest. And so that, I don't know if that's making any sense to you, Karen, but
Well, you said you didn't want to be crazy, so I think that kind of encapsulates it, probably
right.
for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the good crazy and there's the not good, stressful crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really want the experience of my heart being open. And I had a lot of that on the trip because I wasn't overdoing it all the time. Thanks.
Hello, Robert.
Is that Frank?
Yes, it is.
Where are you? I don't see you. Oh, there you are. Hello, Frank. Hello, lovely man.
Hello. Well, I'm happy that I can be witness of this session tonight. I think it's your first talk after you return from your journey.
Yeah, we just got back late last night.
Oh, I see. I find everything you share and you say very touching, and it's very thrilling to feel your sharing. So maybe it is different, feels different for you, because I know you are very good in delivering a straightforward, wise Dharma talk. but the Dharma sharing you do tonight is at least as beautiful and very intense. Carries a lot of what it is all about.
Well, that's great, because then when we end, I won't go away thinking, "Oh man, I blew it completely."
No,
Oh, and I'm glad the plans changed. It worked out good for us the last 3 days I'm in Germany.
Ah, yes, me too.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Hi, Robert. This is Cricket.
Cricket. Hello, Cricket.
I just wanted to make an observation about your observation, I guess.
Okay.
I've known several situations where people have really loved what they did in terms of their careers and have ended up purchasing or becoming managers of the business and found themselves so caught up in the management of the business that they weren't able to continue the things that they loved about the career. And I guess I feel like that's where you're finding yourself. And I think it's wonderful that you realize that and that you're taking the direction of getting back to what you enjoy. You've done a great job of starting up PIMC, but it has gotten very large because of your leadership. But I'm sure that the management of the facility has really taken over your life.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cricket.
And welcome back, by the way.
I'm glad to be back.
We're all thrilled that you are.
And probably I shouldn't even put words to this, but a kind of wild idea emerged at that last dinner. Teary. Interesting. That I might go teach in Costa Rica. Of all the things I like doing, teaching retreats is really high on the list. So, yeah, it's an interesting time. It's a really remarkable shift, I think, that's happening.
And from my standpoint, my connection with PIMC, I will say that your classes are always the ones that are most attended.
Yeah.
People appreciate your teaching and appreciate you and your way.
Well, I better schedule a class, huh? Yeah.
Quick question over here.
Here's Nick. Hello, you beautiful man.
Hello, you beautiful man. I agree with Frank's comments. I have found your talking this morning to be very authentic and real. I think going to a different culture than coming back just opens up the mind in different ways, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, why didn't that surfer pick you up out in the waves? Could they have and given you a ride in?
He would have, and I said I was fine because I didn't know at that point how hard it was going to be to get back in. He had come over to get me, and I waved him off. It's like, I'm okay, because I was okay. And then I realized, well, that was a bit challenging. And there was a point, I had a memory. A long time ago, my former partner Nancy and I led a group of 15 people to Thailand for 18 days on a pilgrimage. My daughter Tara was a high school junior, doing a 1-year overseas exchange in Thailand. So she was with us on the trip. She did a lot of interpreting for us. And she and my stepson Tobin were swimming, and she had an experience of close to drowning. That Tobin really saved her by encouraging her, and she got cut up on the coral, and it was bad. She was traumatized. And so after the surfer had come, and then he left, and I was on my way back, and I realized, shit, this is hard. I then remembered Tara, and I thought, wow, this is maybe what she was feeling. And then I thought, well, if I had it to do over again, I think I would hitch a ride with that guy on his surfboard. But I missed the boat on that one. So there I was, and I was left to my own resources. And what happened was I fell very much into mindfulness and into very consciously swimming carefully. Not over, because I'm not that great a swimmer. I'm not that fit. So I didn't want to swallow water and get out of breath and I wanted to really conserve my energy and swim carefully, and that's what I did, and that worked just fine. But I probably it would have been much wiser to say to him, yeah, I need help, come and get me.
Happy you're here, you're safe, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yay, me too. Incidentally, this is my Franck cup. It's beautiful. Where was it made? Frank, you could speak of this cup. It's was it Dresden? I forget.
Yeah, it's one of these traditional manufactories in Germany where they do these potteries, and then, the painting is the art actually. And that's really a nice piece. Yeah, I'm glad you're using it and love it.
Every day it's my Frank cup. When Jennifer makes coffee for me, she always brings it in my Frank cup.
Yeah. Well, when I just heard you say, the gentleman, Nick, asked you, why didn't you take the ride with him? And you said, you sent him away. I thought that was really stupid, if I may say so.
I do too.
Yeah. And so I'm not saying you were stupid. It just shows how stupid we all can be.
Yeah.
The universe takes care of us, and it sends, help in form of a swimmer with a surfboard.
Right.
And then still we don't take the ride. What is this?
Well, you'd look weak or something. You can't have that.
Yeah. So I just want to say, may we all be ready to accept help when it comes along so nicely.
Boy, isn't that true? What's it? That's actually, you reminded me of a joke. Fellow's on the roof of his house. There's a terrible flood, and he's praying, God, please come save me, and save me and my children. And a boat comes along, and he says, no, I don't need the boat. God will save me. And then a helicopter comes along, and finally he drowns. And he gets to heaven, and God says, what the hell's wrong with you? And he says to God, why didn't you save me? And God says, well, I sent you a boat and a helicopter. I sent you a guy on a surfboard. Why didn't you accept the help? Yeah, it was stupid. It was, you know what it was ignorant. I had one moment, I was watching the waves from the beach, and they were complicated waves. It wasn't just a wave coming in and breaking. There were some cross currents, and I thought, I wonder if there could be a riptide here. That thought crossed my mind, but I didn't take it seriously. Yeah. That the same thought happened when I put the oil-soaked rags in the trash can when we had the fire at PIMC a little while ago. I put the oil-soaked rags, the stain-soaked rags in the trash can, and I thought to myself, spontaneous combustion. I've heard of that, but not at 40 degrees Fahrenheit. But of course, 12 hours later, the thing caught fire, and we had the big fire. We could have burned the building down. So it was another case of ignorance, of not having enough knowledge, enough wisdom to act.
Hi, Robert. It's Eileen, and actually everything that people have just been saying, I thought of this like quirky thing, and then now when Frank talked and Jamie put it in the chat, and I'm obviously thrilled that you're healthy and safe and here. My first thought when you were telling us the original story is, it would have been very, in my mind, very Robert to hear that if you had died, it would have been in Costa Rica in a tidal wave. And now I'm going to add where your last words were, I'm fine. And it wouldn't have been anything pedestrian, like, having a heart attack or being in a car accident. And that's my thought. And it just seemed so you, and I didn't make the connection with the rags, and then one other thing I know it's going to sound like psychoanalysis, but I wasn't doing that. It came to me. I wonder if the connection with you don't want to do all the stuff you're doing, because all this enormous amount of work you've been doing with the center, you've always said to us, I'm fine, I can handle this. Oh, it's upsetting. And so it's this I'm fine theme. So I hope that doesn't offend anybody having a fantasy, but if that had happened, I just would have thought, yeah, it's Robert. And especially hearing the last words, if we heard it from the surfer, telling somebody. So,
well, I think thank you for the suggestion. I'm going to take a new approach, which is I'm not fine, and I need to accept more help and rest more. That's my new mantra.
And I just want to add that it's just very much in line with what you were saying about wanting to be open to all the love that's around you.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
That being said, can you hear me, Robert? It's Candle.
I hear Candle. Candle has appeared.
Golden Kuan Yin. I changed my avatar.
I'm looking for you.
In China.
Oh, here you are. Okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She looks
So
very
that leads me to,
peaceful.
I know, she's beautiful, isn't she? That one is really, really tall. And then there's a big, long waterfall down some steps at her feet that go all the way down to a person about the size of her lips going sideways. The person's about that tall.
Whoa.
It's a fantastic sculpture statue in China. But I just want to welcome you back and thank you so much for, I won't say anything about swimming without knowing what the beach is like. And I'm not going to make any comments on what Eileen just said, except to say that you have the rest of us to lean on. And by allowing the rest of us all these last couple weeks of teaching, it's been a great joy to be with the rest of the community and share things with each other. And I just wanted to say hello and check in, and I wondered, Debbie, are you still here? Yes, there you are. I just wanted to check in to see how you were doing from last week, if you're feeling slightly more relief.
There, I'm unmuted. I'm doing quite a bit better, less stress involved. So that's all I'm going to say for now. I am doing better than I have been. Thank you.
Yeah. I've been thinking about you all week and sending you kindness, and I think everyone else has been keeping you and the rest of us who have had difficult times in their compassion. So welcome back, Robert. It's great to have you. And I didn't share those animal pictures that you gave me, the two butterflies and the snake. I shared some other things because it's perfect that you decided to share them just now when you came back, because they are
Great.
such a symbol of joy and freedom, and well, maybe not the viper. But anyway, it's great to see you. Nice to see everybody else. And thank you for being who you are. Your heart is very big, and we will do our best, the rest of us in the community, the teaching community and the Sangha, to help you feel supported as you find new definitions of how you are most comfortable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll see you in about a month.
Okay. All right. Oh, and I don't know if you mentioned it, but it's Sunday night. I'm teaching tonight. If anybody wants to continue the Dharma.
We did speak. Jim talked about.
Oh, thank you, Jim. I didn't come
Robert?
in until Tai Chi.
I hear a voice.
It's Jai. I wanted
Jai.
to share one. Hi.
Hello, Jai.
I wanted to share one little thing on our way out, and that is some years ago. Are you looking for me on the screen?
I just found you.
Found me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some years ago, I had the great good fortune to spend a lot of time with Gabrielle Roth and dancing, and
Oh,
she
wow.
was really my mentor. So she had, I would be with her, it'd be some months would go by, then we'd get back together. She came from a meditation retreat, and she couldn't talk. She was so deep into the stillness, she kept trying to talk, and she couldn't bring up the words to say. And so the point of what I'm sharing is that ultimately it really deepened my practice, because her stillness and her going more into the stillness led me in a whole new way to my practice, and it really enriched it. And that's why I ended up going to India. So I just want to support you, and wherever you're at, the beauty of what you share is who you are. And just want to thank you. And I'm glad you had your journey.
Thank you for that. That's very helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful. Yeah.
Hi, Robert.
Danny.
So good to see you.
You
so
too.
glad you had a lovely time. I just wanted to add that I'm, as you may know, in my job, I assist organizations that are nonprofits that are transitioning. And your story of the surfboarder is just such a lovely metaphor. It's just, here is the person who is offering aid. And I feel like you need, I'm sure you're hearing this metaphor. You have a great group of people behind you, and to say we have the ball, we've got it, and letting go. And it's a really hard thing. But it's so beautiful that you're accepting, you're in a place to receive that. You do an amazing job. I love you. You're a stunning leader. And it's a very important moment you were going through right now, to realize there are many capable people, surfboards that are coming by and that can all carry us. So with a lot of love, I want to say, and boy, I'm glad you brought up that drowning technique. I'd never heard of that. That's sort of an interesting.
It's called drown proofing.
Drown proofing. I'd never heard of that.
It's very effective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you move into using very little energy.
It sounds very mindful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just go and just breathe and be with what the turbulent water around you, and you are still with it instead of fighting it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like an exercise in mindfulness. So glad you are safe in here. And I just wanted to pass along that I'm very excited that you are in this transition process. And it's not easy. I just want to acknowledge this is a very, very difficult process for you. So thank you for doing it. Acknowledging that with love. Thank you.
in that regard, in terms of it not being easy, I discovered two things. One was I hardly thought about PIMC while I was gone. The to-do lists all just fell away completely. Like, pfft. And a quiet aversion to Trello and the to-do list. That whole thing was like, enough. And I might not miss a lot of that at all. Might not. It might be just, thank God someone else is going to do that. Well, dear ones, anybody else have something
Sorry,
you'd like? I heard someone.
Oh, I was just saying when you said when I was in Costa Rica, I didn't think of PIMC much. What I heard was, Robert, when I meditate, I don't think of you.
Right. That's great. Thank you. From Rastropol. I don't think of, yeah. Right.
Right.
That's funny. Bhikkhu Rastropol. Huh. He was a good man. Well, any last sharing anyone wants to do? I have some bags to unpack.
Robert?
Hello, Had.
Hi, I just want to initiate or claim that the speaking about your experience in the water, that maybe that could be an opening for conversations for the center, for as we change, as we become more of as we continue to develop our community, our being as a community, because it's developed so beautifully online here, and hopefully we'll be back in the joint pretty soon and can see what we can add and be ready to help each other and be bold enough to ask for the help we would like.
Amen. Yeah, I really like it that COVID is diminishing so rapidly. That will really help us. That's the real obstacle that we have now. The place is going to be physically accessible. It's really on the brink. Yeah. All right. So, shall we sing a song? Hey, Susanna.
Yes.
What was that man singing?
Oh, so sweet. These are very, very old-fashioned, typical, like cultural songs about the people who used to live on those plains, those where they were cowboys, and how much they loved their open skies and the big trees, and they're old songs, they're old songs. And he must have been a worker on a farm or on a ranch at some point. And at one point I thought he was Nicaraguan, but there was a time in Costa Rica when part of Costa Rica was considered Nicaragua. And so he might have, have been partly that. So, and his accent was a little different too. So it was, it was very, very, old, like I said, old-fashioned and beautiful songs, cultural folk songs.
I played those songs for Sebastian.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he's representing an old part of the culture. And he mentioned the same, that Nicaragua owned, so to speak, that Guanacaste, I forget, that where So strange. Where Samara is, that he was from that land. That was his
Yeah.
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 So
beautiful.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, let's Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Or shall we? Why? How about this? Yeah, let's do that. Ready? Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, dear friends. Lovely to be with you. And see you tomorrow morning if you want to join us at 8 o'clock. More will be revealed. Oh, 7 o'clock, right? All right.
I was thrilled that you were going to change it to 8 o'clock.
Here at Costa Rica time.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Adios.
Robert.
Adios.
Hasta luego.
Welcome